Hey friends, my name's Aaron Ciotti. Everybody calls me Ciotti. Welcome to the show. It's Whoop Wednesday. We are going to build, tune, fly, and sell a rig tonight. And it's this little, there's a bunch of Hummingbird pieces in there. And so I went with like a whole newbie drone kind of thing. I grabbed one of the canopies with the BI cameras. I grabbed a set of the Hummingbird 802 25,000? Yep, 25,000 kV motors. And we're going to do a rockin' little 1S 75mm build. This is really like... You can go higher kV, you can go bigger motor, but this is kind of the sweet spot for 1S 75mm rigs. If you go... with bigger motors or higher kV motors, a lot of times what happens is you end up needing to run bigger batteries, and then the all-up weight gets out of control. Like, you need to go up to like a 550 mAh battery, which just doesn't make sense. The sweet spot with 75s, which on 1S, admittedly, like, you don't get the best flight performance in the world, but about as good as it gets, the best balance is going to be 0802, 25,000 kV. You keep it as light as you can. And then for propellers, it's certainly going to be the HQ. Speaking of, I need to grab them. The HQ 1.6-inch ultralights. These guys. And it's a setup that actually flies pretty good. It's yeah. For one, it's as good as it really gets for 1S 75, and like as long as you're not looking to do like massive full throttle throws over trees and stuff, it's going to be really good. The flight footage during the intro, you might have noticed the horizon line was canted a little bit. That is the Insta360 Go 2 software getting a little bit confused, but that was this build here. Mobula V3 frame, 2S, 300 mAh batteries in here. X12, this is an X12 AIO that I've rotated around backwards so that the battery is sticking out the front. And then I believe this is a Tokyo Dom 3D printed canopy here, which allows you to put the Insta360 Go 2 in there upside down. And it's got a little spot here for a RunCam Nano camera. Lots of up tilt, too much up tilt, to be honest. But if you're gonna fly fast, this is a good setup for it. And then I've got an ORT Micro V just kind of peeking out the side, all jaunty like, but it actually totally works. Oh, and since this is for going really fast, carrying a bunch of weight, I went with a bigger motor, 1002, 18,000 kV T motor with the 1.5 millimeter motor shaft. And so that's what you were watching at the beginning of the stream. I wasn't flying it all that hard because I've got the Insta360 Go 2 on there, and that's like a $200-300 camera that you can't get replacements for anymore. So it kind of makes sense to just chill, Winston, when you're flying that thing around. Kind of fun though, different kind of flight experience. So like you're flying an analog, so nice low latency, but not crazy range. You know, like standard tinywhoop range. So like, even though it's got all that up tilt and it flies really fast, you can't go like 5 blocks down as if you're flying 04 or 03 or something like that. But yeah, other than that, pretty good stuff. Pretty good flying little build. And I'm super glad to finally use that 3D printed canopy. I've had that for a while. Brain 3D printed that for me. Brian Kirk was first in the chat. Bob Bruce, Frank Nicholas, RC Thrills, Johnny V, Temava, Mike K, Levster, Islander FPV, Ying Yang, Scotty Scott, Kazuma, Douglas 6, Sly Stop, Mike K again, Stefan 4 Elements, Matthew W, Fizz PV, Brian Kirk, Witch Cat, that's a fun name. Matthew W, Cole Powers, Brent Anderson, Uriel, Witch Cat again, Doubles FPV. What's up, friends? Before we dive into that, I've got a build that I did a little bit ago that is going to get put up on Etsy to be sold. It's another 1S 75mm build. I just need to get it out of this frame. It's in this broken ass Air 75 frame, and I've got a fresh one here. So I'm going to transplant this over into that. I believe this is also on 802 25,000s. Hold on, let me see. Nope, 23,000s. Oh, that's cool. 802 23,000s. And on the build we're doing tonight, it's going to have 802 25,000s. Shit. We'll fly these back to back and see if I can tell a difference between them. This is cool. This is like a BetaFPV 1S75 here. And then this is going to be kind of like a newbie drone-ish rig. And that'll be kind of neat to compare these. This is also direct soldered on the Air 65 board. So we got that going for us, which is nice. In the chat, if you want to talk directly to me, just type CiottiFPV in your chat message. It'll light up an orange for me. You can do that with each other or with yourself. If you type someone's name and you spell it right for that person, including your own name, it's going to light up orange. So if you type your own name into your chat message, you'll see it lights up an orange. It's not all that exciting, but in case you're wondering, CiottiFPV.com to support me. Lots of different ways that you can do that. You got to spell it right, though. Something that apparently I can't even do. Here's the live streaming schedule. Here is the link to Patreon, which definitely helps me the most. $3 a month to join. That's 10 cents a day. I guarantee you I will save you more than 10 cents a day worth of stuff, telling you what to buy, what not to buy, what's garbage, what catches on fire, all that good stuff. Etsy has some really fun stickers and hardware. I added a ton of stuff to the Etsy store yesterday and the day before. We've got some Axis 2306 motors, FPV Cycle Cineglide carbon fiber, some GoPro mounts here, Foxeer Pico Razor camera, T-Motor F4 13 amp 1S AIO, absolutely brand new. Bunch of McStinkies here, some props, Newbie Drone BI camera, Beta FPV Air 65 canopy, the other Beta FPV canopy, the old school canopy. Some of the really hard to find Gemfan 1610s in gray for the 1.5mm motor shafts, Beta FPV ELRS module, Mobula 7. This is a really cool set of motors here. These are tinywhoop onesie 0802 30,000 kV stators, which are red on the bottom, and then I've put iGal bells on top. So it's red and purple, which is super cool. It's a 30,000 kV 802, which is a motor that doesn't exist, with a 1.5mm motor shaft. Kind of cool stuff. And it looks like 6 people have the Fat Shark HD3s in their basket. That's insane. And then there's a StarTech dock here. Screaming Goat, all kinds of stuff, man. Fly Lens 85 frame kit, double BT 2.0, CiottiFPV M&Ms. Look at all this good shit, man. Get on there. Get on the Etsy store. Buy yourself something nice. You deserve it. Teespring's got some fun shirts and other apparel. Fiverr, you can work one-on-one with me. Take advantage of over 8 years of knowledge. PayPal, if you want to support me without doing a super chat. Discord for all the funds. Searchable live stream transcripts, thanks to Craig. And then loads of affiliate links. Replace your bookmarks, replace your URL bar suggestions with affiliate links, and support the people that are making the content that tells you what to buy and saves you from buying the trash. Amazon, GetFPV, Pyro Drone, Race Day Quads, Newbie Drone, WeBleed, BetaFPV, FPV Cycle, Hasingi, Oh My God, Brain 3D, HD0, Fly, Wii, Max, Bang, Good Camera, Butter, AliExpress. There you go. That's how you support me, friends. Let me continue unscrewing things over here while we work through the chat. Scotty Scott says, what's up, gangly drones? Gangly dromies is more like it, I guess. Mike K says, so one of the motors on the Meteor 75 Pro is stuttering at startup, and then half the time it works properly, and the other half it stops spinning. Any ideas? So that is either a bad motor, a connection problem between the AIO and the motor, or a bad FET on the ESC. Just a bad ESC, let's say. So to troubleshoot whether or not it's a bad motor, you're going to take that motor and another motor, and you're going to swap them. And you're going to see if the behavior chases the motor or stays on the same spot. If it stays in the same spot, it's an ESC problem. If the problem moves with the motor, either the motor is bad, or the solder joint or the plug or something like that is bad. The connection between the motor and the AIO could be bad. If the plug header on the AIO is bad, the problem will stay on that channel. So if the problem doesn't move with the motor, then it's either a problem with the plug on the AIO, or it's a problem with one of the FETs on that channel. And so there you go. That's how you're going to troubleshoot it. That's going to get you like 80-90% of the way there on that problem, and then you can take it on home. Hopefully the problem moves with the motor, because if the problem moves with the motor, it's the cheapest possible repair, right? Or in that you're going to replace the motor, or it's a problem with the wire, which you can probably fix for free. If the problem stays on that channel, it's probably the ESC being blown up. It could absolutely be the plug header, but that's pretty rare. And it's kind of not all that fixable. I mean, at that point, like, you would, if I were you, I would try direct soldering a motor to see if that fixes the issue. And if the issue continues after you've direct soldered a motor, then it's definitely an ESC FET problem. So there you go. There's how to troubleshoot stuttering motors, my friends. That, any size rig, if you've got a stuttering motor, that is the troubleshoot. The first main step on the troubleshoot is to swap two motors and see if the problem chases or stays. So there you go, yo. Super common issue. More often than not, it's a bad ESC, unfortunately. But you want to do that. You want to do that troubleshoot and not just assume that it's the ESC. Brian Kirk says, just got my Meteor 65 Pro frame today. Waiting for my props to come on Friday, and my Hummingbird V3.1 will get an upgrade. Very, very cool. Matthew W says, tinywhoop 300 mAh 2S just came into stock. Go, 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 people. I'm tempted to throw an @ everyone into Discord for that. tinywhoop.com, batteries. We don't want 1S, we want 2S. Yeah, look at that. There they are. Are the short, so that also means, okay. So that also means that the short pigtail 450s are in stock as well. Jesse said that was one big shipment that he was waiting on. I'm gonna throw an @ everyone in Discord. I hate to do 2 of these a night, but we've been waiting for these for a long time. Everyone, go, 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 go. There it is. Let's see if a thumbnail will come up. A thumbnail has come up. There it is. All right. What else is happening? Good call, Matthew W. Thank you, brother. I just broke wind. Cole Power says, is it worth getting 260 mAh or should I stick to 300? I feel like the weight savings might not be worth it if I am not racing. Thoughts? I think that the 260s are really fun. Teddy. Go ahead, make him go crazy. Make him make that noise a lot. Good show, Teddy. So that's the soundtrack of Teddy and Florence playing. He does that with her and no one else. He is not this much of a brat with anyone else. Just Little Boo. It's insane. Teddy! Jesus, man. Kevin Sumner says, currently 40 in stock. TikTok homies. Okay, no more. Oh my god. Why is he doing that? Why is he so bad? He gets so wound up. He can't calm down. Why don't you calm down? He goes... What a fart bag, this dog. He's just a big old bag of farts. Hey, this is something else that is going to be available at some point. This is a set of Happy Model 0802 25,000s. I was going to sell them in this frame, but I need to steal this frame. So now it's just going to be these motors. I believe these are the motors for Underground Whoop League, right? Underground Whoop League is a spec 802 25,000 kV motor. It might be 19,000. It's 19,000. Sorry. These will not work for Underground Whoop League. What did I say about you being down here? You can be down here. You just gotta relax. Oh my god. He just whispered, "I'm relaxed." Get this dog figured out. What's his deal? I'm trying to get these props off, and they're just fighting me. I got it. I got it. It's okay. This is the clone popper from tinywhoop. This is my favorite of the prop poppers. The little forks are very thin, which actually makes it somewhat realistic to get the damn thing in between the motor and the prop. The problem with these forks being thin is they're not completely and utterly invincible. So if you're ever like really cranking on it, stop. You're gonna break the forks. Don't do it. Just take a breath. It's gonna be okay. And you know, don't break your clone popper. I've broken one. Where was I in chat here? Matthew W says, new 65mm frame in stock at tinywhoop 2, Nimble 65 PP. 2.88 grams. Newbie Drone Light AF is 2.4 grams. Let's see. Let's take a look. Store, open link in new tab. Full collection. Where is it? Where's the Nimble? No. We're going to sort by new to old. Yeah, I thought it was doing that. Where is it? Where's the Nimble? Let's just search for it. Nimble. Why is caps lock on? That's weird. Oh, so the Nimble frame is the sub 250 frame. Interesting. I would not trust it. Oh boy, that looks... Well, first of all, this is a CAD, which is just the stupidest thing ever. That looks awful thin. You never know. I mean, it could be good. It's $7. That's a lot of dollars, isn't it? Nimble 65 PP. Interesting. Does anybody have any experience with this sub 250 frame? This is the frame on this Nimble 65 rig. Anybody have any experience? I do not. If I do an order from here, though, I will probably get one just to test it. Probably do it in great. Oh, look how they did this. I kind of like this. I kind of like how they've connected. They haven't really connected it, but like, yeah, I like that they've done that. That could be good. I feel bad now. Now Little Boo left, but she's crazy when she's just crazy. She's a crazy person. I live with a crazy person. I love her to death, but crazy. Okay, so I need to wait on this. I need to get the rest of these motors off here. Brian Kirk says, Hummingbird V3.1 race spec is out of stock. Glad I got one, but hope I don't break it. Yeah, look at, you'll see why. Look at Newbie Drone's Instagram, and you'll see why. There's a reason that I took my Race V3.1 and did something wacky with it. Haven't been able to say anything, but Newbie Drone put some stuff up today, I believe, which will spoil the surprise. That's all I can say. the one that if you just bought one, you've still got something awesome coming to you. So don't have like mega buyer's remorse, because yeah, the V3.1 is awesome. There's absolutely nothing wrong with it. Sam also saying that tinywhoop restocked the 2S300s a few minutes ago. Wow, was it that recent? Was it literally like a couple minutes ago? I thought I had a. I thought I had an email alert on that, but apparently I didn't. Oh, I sure did. Yeah, 10:02. Look at that. Jesse did it just for us. If those aren't completely sold out by the end of this live stream, it's over. It's canceled. Done. Don't let me down. Buy them all, you freaks. What if we literally bought all of them? I mean, those emails just went out to a shitload of people. Tag me in chat. If you're buying some, tag me in chat and tell me how many you're buying. We'll keep a running tally. We'll keep a running tallywhacker. Boy, tallywhacker is a weird word, isn't it? We really do a number on the English language, do we not? America first, bro. All right, popping this AIO out of the frame. And then I'm going to try to thread these motors through the little holes in the frame. So this Air 75 frame is broken in 3 different places, but I flew this quite a bit. This was when BetaFPV sent this to me. It was when I was like really trying to figure out the 1S 75mm thing, and I flew the shit out of this rig, and I crashed the shit out of this rig. I did a whole bunch of flying at jungle gyms with this. And boy, is that hard on a build. The metal poles of the jungle gyms are quite unforgiving, and I have a tendency to hit those metal poles at like damn near or actually full throttle, and so yeah, the Air 75 frame is definitely not as strong as the Mobula 7 V4 frame, but it's a lot lighter. You know, it's a full, I believe it's a full gram lighter, and it holds the battery a little bit better too. So yeah, you know, that's kind of the deal. That's sort of what happens. These Air 65 and Air 75 frames always break in this exact same spot. The engineering behind this frame, unfortunately did not foresee like this very specific weak spot, which is a shame, but hopefully they'll learn from that, and the next frame that they do will have something changed so that every single time you crash, it doesn't like weirdly dump all of the energy into this one spot. It's really wild how it just over and over, both the Air 65 and the Air 75 break in the exact same spot over and over and over again. Kind of a great example of like, I hate to say that, I'm not saying this to be mean, but bad engineering. Like, sorry. I mean, with a tinywhoop frame though, how the hell do you troubleshoot that, right? Before you have it molded? Like, you don't. You do a frame design, you have a million molded, you put them out into the world, you see where they break, and then you try to fix it on the next run, you know? Like, I can't imagine... I can't imagine there being software that can simulate the impact from crashes, especially when, like, you know, you've got an AIO in the center that kind of stiffens that up, and then, like, you have to take into account, like, that there's propellers in here, and then the frame is going to push into the propeller, and that's going to kind of change how the energy sort of moves around. It's, yeah, it's frame design is outrageously difficult to get right. And way more often than not, it's sort of more Nah, that's not fair. I was going to say it's more wrong than right. That's not true. Frame design is usually damn good, but it's seldom perfect, right? There's always like something going on. Either it's a pain in the ass to live with, or it's got some weird little weak spot that we discover after a couple thousand batteries have been flown through it by the community, right? And so it's pretty tough, man. Pretty tough stuff. One of the reasons that I've never really dove into this is one of the main reasons why I've never really dove into frame design, because I would not want to put something out that's not awesome, and to make an awesome frame takes an absolute ton of time. And then after you have a frame with your name on it, every single person that buys that frame that has a problem with it is going to contact you. And it's weird to be like, you know, hey, there's nothing I can do for you. You got to talk to the person that you bought it from over and over and over again, right? Like that's not a great response. Like it's the right response, as we all know, but a lot of people are not going to like that response. And like even the people that are okay with that response, it just feels bad. You know what I mean? I've never really wanted to have anything to do with product design or sales in FPV, and luckily I've been able to stay away from it. I would love to have a tinywhoop motor. I believe WeBleed asked me a while back, and I said, "Oh, it's got to have a cool name," and then I never got back to him on the name. Pretty sure we talked about that on a stream a while ago, and you guys had a couple suggestions for the name, but there was nothing that was like super good. And so yeah, I don't even know what it would be. I don't even know what, like, I think it might be a 702 35,000 or something like that, you know, like something that doesn't really exist yet. And like the 36,000s are awesome. The 40,000s are pure mayhem. The 32,000s are really good. So like a 35, you know, it bridges that gap really nicely. Yeah. But I got to pick a name. And it's got to be a good name. Oh my god, can you get in there, please? The other thing I could do with this is another one of these 14mm prop builds, because I'm actually really tempted to pull this race, this Newbie Drone Race 1.4-inch build that I did apart, because it makes too much power. It's too much, and I'm tempted to pull it apart and put it into a regular Newbie Drone cockroach frame. It used to be in the light AF frame, which is kind of janky is not the right word, but it's just too light. It's just too light. It's a little janky. It's not janky. Janky's the wrong word. Janky clown. Does anybody recognize that? Anybody recognize janky clown when I say it like that? Janky clown. Sorry, didn't mean to point. Trying to figure out what canopy screws I'm going to use here for this thing. All right, I'm not going to use these silver. These silver BetaFPV canopy screws are the goddamn worst. Why are they so short? I throw them away at this point. They are so goddamn short. Be less short, bro. Be less short. I'm going to use these black Newbie Drone screws. All right, let me dive back into Chad here. Here we go again. Put the screwdriver in my mouth so I can't talk during a thing where I talk. Mike K says, copy that. I'll tear it apart when I get home after vacation. Thank you. You're certainly welcome, brother. Doubles FPV just put an X. I'm reading the chat bottom to top now for some strange reason. I just put an X12 in a Mobula V3 frame with 1102s and having issues with throttle runaway. I've lowered the motor idle to no avail. I'm not having much luck messing with the sliders. You're doing things out of order. Always check the mechanical system first. So put a fresh, brand new set of props on it. Different props than the ones that you're having runaway problems with, because some propellers are out of balance right out of the box. Right out of the bag, rather. While you're changing the propellers, spin the motors up in Betaflight and make sure that you don't have a motor shaft that's bent, right? If this is the motor shaft, go into the motors tab and spin it very slowly and take your fingernail and put your fingernail next to the motor shaft. If there's a motor shaft that's bent, it'll tap every time it comes around. It'll tap your fingernail. If the motor is straight, you'll be able to put your fingernail against it and you won't feel it wobbling back and forth. And so now you've got a fresh set of propellers from a different manufacturer on there, and you've confirmed that your motor shafts are not bent, hopefully. If you still have the problem, you're going to check the frame to make sure the frame is not broken, and you're going to check to make sure that the frame is not pushing into the AIO and hard mounting the AIO. You need the AIO to be floating on the rubber grommets. You shouldn't have any wires pushing up between the AIO and the frame. That's not gonna allow the frame to move around. I'm sorry, that's not gonna allow the AIO to float. The AIO needs to be on those rubber grommets, and you need to be able to push the AIO a little bit and have it be free in all directions. This way, when everything's vibrating underneath it, the AIO can stay in place and not dump all those vibrations into the gyro. And so at that point, you've checked pretty much the entire mechanical system. If you're still having problems, it could be a bad gyro. Well, I skipped the most important step. The most important step is, when did the behavior start? Did it start after you hammered it into a tree at full throttle? Or is it a fresh build, or what's going on there? That's going to be one of the most important parts, is when did it start doing this? Whatever happened that caused it to start doing that is going to be the biggest clue that you've got as to what on earth is going on with it. So there you go, brother. Cole Powers says, did you do the EOS utility dance? Always. Is Teddy sacrificing a toy to the Canon gods for stream stability? He's not, but I wish he would. Yeah, so like when Florence plays with Teddy, that's just what he does. He just freaks out, and he makes that insane grunting, screaming, crying show. Like, she's not playing with him any different than the rest of us. Like, it's wild. He treats her completely different. He treats her like she's his sister or something. It's super funny. And then she treats Maggie and I like he treats Maggie and I like we're his parents, so he doesn't pull that shit with us. It's super funny. Super, super, super funny. Great. Benny Bravo says, is the Hummingbird V4 2S capable? No, it is not. 1S only. Chill, Winston, says Andrew Taylor. Hold on, I'm all effed up in the chat. Hold on. Here we go. Matthew W says, I bolted a frame onto my completed battery order already. The top-down image also piqued my interest. Nice. Nice. So you got one of those frames coming too, huh? All right, so Matthew and I will stress test them for everybody else. Islander FPV says, just bought 2. Nice. Bob Bruce bought 6. He spelled my name with a Y instead of an I. Mike Julio says he only has 40 left. Matthew W says 400 X4 and 4 of the 450 400 400 X4 and 350 X4 here. I'm confused. There's a 300 and there's a 450. I see what you did there. You just moved the 50. So you got 4 of each. Very cool. Yin Yang got 3 300s. Yo, we bought a bunch of those. Islander FPV says, hold on. He doesn't say hold on. I'm dying to know if the stock status has updated yet. I'm super curious how many we've bought. So if I put 100 and try to add them to cart. Okay, now 40. It's not updating that. It's not updating fast enough. That's okay. 1.2 by 0.9. Yeah, this is the new products. And it's not. No, I guess it is. I guess it is updating. Okay, that's great. Terrific. Okay, terrific. Islander FPV says, did you see the BeeKart on Newbie Drone's website? I did indeed. STL file to convert your brushed Newbie Drone whoop into a little FPV car. I did indeed, and oddly enough, Frank Nicholas sent me he accidentally ordered a brushed Newbie Drone Acro Bee not too long ago. He didn't know what to do with it, so he sent it to me a few weeks ago. I didn't know what to do with it. I was gonna fly it, but it was kind of low priority. Like, I've done that before. And then he sent me a link to that little toy car a few days ago. And I was like, and I replied back. I was like, man, I would love it if I had time to do that, but realistically I don't. Do you want me to send you the brushed whoop back so that you can do it? And he was like, it's yours, but if you're not going to use it, then I'll totally do it. So I was like, cool. And I got a package in the mail to Frank. Also just won a giveaway 2 Mondays ago, I think it was 1 Monday ago, and so I was already sending him a package. So I just threw that in there, and so yeah, we'll get to see that little car. We'll get to see Frank build that little car, which will be awesome. I've got a couple of like crazy months coming up here. So I got to be kind of focused on building a bunch of other stuff. I also don't have any filament other than TPU, and I don't think you can print that little car out of TPU. Brian Kirk says, what did Newbie Drone send you, and how awesome is it? I'm addicted to them. I can't show you until the day that it comes out, but you're going to dig it. So subscribe to the channel and click the bell. Click the bell. Click the bell icon. And make sure you don't miss anything. Click the get your bell on so you don't miss anything. Click the bell. I hate YouTube. I hate everything. Blue Sky FPV says, are there any reasonably durable light frames for 45mm props? There is only one single frame for 45mm props. The BetaFPV 75 Pro, Meteor 75 Pro. It is somewhat durable. It's definitely not lightweight. It's a very heavy frame, but it is pretty durable. But yeah, that's the only one. You have no options. Benny, got that one. Lewis C says, what's up, Ciotti? Wondering if you have Any idea what's going on with my motors? 702/802 topspins. At least 1 and 2 whoops are stiff to spin by hand, or when arming, ESC times out, or they toast. Check the... a lot of times, what's happening is the C-clip on the bottom of the motor is rubbing on the plastic of the frame. So unscrew those motors so that they're just you know, hanging out like this, and then try to spin them. And if they spin fine, not bolted down to the frame, you know what's going on. Motors don't really die like that. They just stop working. They don't get like stiff to spin, unless I guess they got like dirt in between the motor shaft and the bushings. In which case you can pull the C-clip on the bottom, pull the bell off, clean everything out, and put them back together. When did that start? When did that behavior start? That's super important. If it's something that kind of like got worse and worse and worse, then it could be like a shitload of hair wrapped up in there, or another problem, or like dirt or something like that. If it happened when you switched frames, then it's frame related. Captain Obvious has entered the building, and he's just doling out top-notch advice. Get out of there! There we go. Hold on, man. There we go. Got it! Can you stop shooting across the desk, little tiny screws? There we go. Almost there. It's going to be worth it. I promise. All right, was it worth it? Cool. So this little guy's good. Let's throw some shoes at it. Also known as propellers. I don't know why I called them shoes. That was weird. That was awkward. Shoes. So I've got one high right. Here's another high right, and now I need a couple of high lefts. There's one, there's two. Perfect. I need some for that build over there as well, though. So we're going to go high right, high right. Where are my high lefts at? Does anybody else... High left. Does any... Is it... Am I the only one? Well, the way... Instead of clockwise, counterclockwise, I just look at a propeller. Like looking at you. And whichever side is high. So this is a clockwise propeller. I call this a high left propeller. Because when I hold it and look at it, the left side of the blade is high. The left side of the blade facing me is high. Is that crazy? Is that a crazy way of... I don't know. I've been doing that the entire time I've been into FPV. It's just like this weird thing that I've always done. It's a missed opportunity too, because I could make like a dick joke about like cockwise, you know, cockwise and counterclockwise, but I don't. I say high left and high right like a complete stone man. Instead of just putting these propellers on and potentially screwing up the motors, we are going to drill them out before we put them on with this little pin vise with 0.99 millimeter and 1.46 millimeter drill bits in it. You can get your own pin vise and or drill bits, or all of the above, or just some of the above, over on my Etsy store, which is linked on CiottiFPV.com, or you can just go to Etsy and search for CiottiFPV and you'll find it. This is the absolute best way to make your motors last longer. Most motors that you've slipped a bell on the motor shaft are because you did it. It's not because you crashed it too many times. It's because you pushed the propeller on too hard. And that's what really kills it. The energy that gets put into these things in crashes doesn't really do anything. It doesn't put energy into the motor in a directionality that would make the shaft slip on the bell. So if you've ever slipped a motor shaft on a tinywhoop motor, you cannot blame anyone but yourself. It is 100% your fault, in my opinion. That's okay. You were just learning. You know, some things we have to learn the hard way. But stop doing it, for God's sakes. You're just throwing money away. Continuing to ram propellers onto your motor shafts. And, like, you can't love the way that it makes your fingertips feel, right? Like, it sucks and it hurts like hell because they're sharp and they're tiny and it's frustrating. So stop it. Get your shit together. Spend a couple of dollars. Help me keep doing this. Support your boy. And start drilling your propellers out. I just did a full set of props. I'm almost done. Not quite done. So when you first put the propeller on, just kind of push it in there and then spin. Spin the drill bit. The propeller will move down the drill bit towards the base where the pin vise is. And then pull it off without spinning. You're going to have to like rock it back and forth a little bit. This removes the majority of the material. Pulling it off, just rotating it a little bit. When you're rotating it, when you're going like this, it doesn't really remove much material. It's this that removes material. And you'll see it. When you do that, there's a little puff of white plastic shards that kind of comes out. And then you just kind of keep putting it onto and off of the drill bit until it's not super hard to put on and off of there. That means that you've removed enough material that the inner diameter is now 0.99, which is basically what you want it to be. It's not actually 0.99, but you've removed a bunch of material. You can literally feel yourself removing material every time you put this thing on and off of the drill bit. And after you do a bunch of these, you'll know how much force is the right amount of force where you're done. And now it'll go onto the motor shafts without you having to grunt and scream and piss your pants. And the best part is it'll come off the motor shaft when you want it to come off. You know, you can always just blast these props onto the motors, and then if you never crash and you never bend a prop, I guess you're fine. But if you start crashing, or like God forbid you want to try a different set of propellers, it's going to be a complete and total nightmare. So drill your props out, my friends. Tinywhoops do not use and abuse propellers all that much. So, like, I cannot recommend drilling props out for anything other than tinywhoops. Like, anything open propellered, you go through props too often. But tinywhoops, since you have the prop protectors, the propellers last a long time, so that drilling them out is not like a complete pain in the ass. Because they'll be on there for a while. Make sense? Craig says, janky clown David Lynch. No. Janky Clown is in the credits of... Janky Clown is in the credits of a show called High Maintenance. There it is. Really funny show. And at the end of the show, Janky Clown Productions is the production company that produced the show. And so at the end of at the end of every episode of the show, they put the little logo up for the production company, and a little voice comes on and goes, Janky Clown, and it says it just like that, and it just tickles my absolute pickle. Weirdest fucking saying ever. This guy is looking pretty good here. I think everything is fine. So there we go. As soon as I get caught up on chat, we'll dive into the other one. So yeah, a set of Happy Model 802 25,000s. I might already have a set of these on the Etsy store. Hold on. Can I just take a quantity and go from 1 to 2? That'd be pretty cool. Search all 85 items, 0802. So I'm selling on my Etsy store the custom 30,000 kV 802s, a set of BetaFPV 0802 SE 19,500s, VCI 0802.8 27,000s. Oh, nope. And a set of the Happy Model 802 19,000s. You know what I can do, though? Nah. I ain't gonna do that. I could make a variation of that item and just change the KV, but I'm not gonna do that. I'm gonna take pictures of these and make a separate listing. That's the right thing to do. FizzPV says, Dink does the same thing with my GF's daughter. Nice. Girlfriend's daughter. Doubles FPV says, I just swapped it to 2S new motors, 1610 props, and hit all your common frame build checklist. Okay, so it started doing this when you went to 2S. What's the what motors? Tag me again and tell me what motors and what motor limiting you're using. 2S, you almost always need to use some sort of motor limiting. Benny Bravo says, what is recommendation for 0802 and 1002? What do you mean? Are you asking like what builds to use 802s or 1002s on? For me, my favorite build with an 802 is a 2S 75mm motor 1.6-inch prop tinywhoop. For 1002s, same kind of build if it's a heavier build or if it's picking up a camera like a Runcam Thumb or an Insta360 Go 2 or something like that, or an 04. Or you can go up to the BetaFPV 1102. I like those even better than the 1002s on those heavier like digital builds. Matthew W says, that's not the true new products URL. Check Discord. It's collections/all. Oh, that's pretty cool. That's Matthew says it's on all Shopify stores. Yeah, look at that. tinywhoop.com/collections/all. Pretty slick. How the hell did you figure that one out? Why are these... Oh, look at this. A tattoo 270. 270, not 260. Oh, that's interesting. Oh, it's... Why does it say PHR? PHR 2.0. Has it always been PHR 2.0? And we just dropped the R? These are PH 2.0 batteries. We don't care about these. There's the Nimble. Oh, look at this. DTRC. The hell's that mean? Oh my god, and there's a Beluga one too. What's DTRC? Looks like it's a pretty thin fork. Huh. Little tiny plunger. Okay. As of 2025, this is the largest prop popper I've found. Ah, okay. It's another one of the very cheap Chinese prop poppers that came in 3rd or 4th round of clones that were made to copy the original. Huh. Okay. And then there's the Beluga. The Beluga prop removal tool. Look at this weirdness. What is this? What is this insanity? This is one of the more interesting clones. The original prop popper to come out of China. It's part 3D printed, part molded. Finger grip section was repurposed from another syringe-like tool. Pin is very long. Huh. The fork looks way too wide. I would be really worried about this fork not being able to grab any of the HQ propellers. Although I guess you could just keep sliding it in farther or something. I don't know. I like the clone popper. Whoop V. Look at this. What? UFL antenna by TrueRC Canada. Look at that little guy. Look at the Whoop V. What's it weigh? Jesse usually has a really good weight. Point. What? 0.2010 grams. How the hell is it so light? The micro, it looks significantly more substantial than the micro V, but it weighs the same as the micro V. That's insane. I'm assuming that 0.2 gram is on this super short one. Well, that's pretty slick. And then a bunch of different sizes on the wire. That's pretty cool. I can't help but try one of those. HQ ultralight prop, 1.2 by 1.1 by 3. This is the old school 31 millimeter, right? Hold on, let me check. It could be a new prop. Hold on. So the old school 31 millimeter. Oh, it just says 31 millimeter on it, doesn't it? It doesn't have the actual pitch on it. Or does it? Oh, it does. No, it doesn't. It doesn't. It just says 31 millimeter on it. I think that's the old school 31 millimeter though. It's basically the more pitchy, you know. So the brand new HQ prop is 1.2 by 0.9 by 3. This one is 1.2 by 1.1. So it's a little bit more pitchy. I actually really like the 0.9s. Look at this, a quad blade. That's a terrible idea. Just because it's too heavy. But it's kind of funny. And there's the 1.4s that we've been messing around with lately. Here's the new VCI motors. I'm kind of interested, but 45. I don't think I'm going to spend $45 on a set of motors right now. There's the DJI, the Mobula 704. Oh, it's sold out though. But there's the Mobula 704 canopy. That's pretty cool. And the BetaFPV canopy that I ordered from overseas and waited forever for. I could have just waited. I was so close to just waiting. Super short ORT Micro V. Let's see. Oh, wow, the Micro V is quite a bit heavier. How the hell? I thought the Micro Vs were 0.2. You know what? They're not. They are 0.4. The Micro Vs are 0.4. The 0.2 weight is the lightweight modified whip antenna. How the hell is this only 0.2 grams? What? This PDB must be outrageously thin. Dude, that's crazy how lightweight these are. I'm impressed by that, man. I'm all over that. Whoop V. Damn, dude. Very cool. Motor spacers and the screws for the top spin motors since they sit so low. Oh, look at that. Rubber band plane. Here's the 1.4. Wait a second. What? What? HQ Ultralight 30. But what? But we've got these. Oh, okay. This is the 1.5 millimeter version, and then this is the 1 millimeter prop shaft version. Got it. This T5000 Ivory is like a greenish tinge. And I think we're caught up now. I think that's all the new. Yeah. We've been in here since these biblades came out. Well, cool. Good shit. What did I just see? 802 30,000s? What? 1 millimeter shaft. Cool. Got some stuff to get. Betty Bravo says, what is recommendation? Oh, no, we got that. Sam says, building a 75mm 2S rig, should I go Mobula V3 or V4 frame? V3 frame will work with a lot of different AIOs. The V4 frame will only work with the BetaFPV AIO that does not have a USB port on the bottom. So that's an easy decision. Frank Nicholas says, thanks for shipping the brush whoop back. I'll get something online to share the car. Very cool. Can't wait to see it. Jason Black says, how long should the explosion of the Big Bang last in the vastness of the void? It's still going on today, isn't it? Everything's still expanding. We think. Maybe we're in the big shrink. Captain Calgary says, so a Happy Model Super X F411 V2.1 AIO. What about it? What about that AIO? YouTube just did the thing. Scrolling back up to try to find my place. FizzPV says, Cockroach 82. What about it? What about the Cockroach 82? Nathan Wells says, I bet CiottiFPV has the new V2 race. I wish I could tell you. Render says, try mango on tacos. Sincerely, California. I like that idea a lot. FizzPV says, it's for 45mm props. Oh, good call. Good call. Yeah. The Cockroach 82... I would not recommend that frame, though. Apparently that frame, like, rattles, and you got to put, like, foam, adhesive foam, basically weather stripping on it to get it to not rattle. Meteor 75 Pro frame is the way to go for 45mm props. Rex says, is the cam on the RS V2 any better? Heard from a little birdie there is a BI V2 on that little guy with 800 TV lines rather than 600. I don't know. I don't even know if there is a race spec V2. But what I can tell you is that on the Hummingbird V4 that came out not too long ago, after I flew it, I immediately noticed that the video quality was better. And so I got in touch with my contact over at Newbie Drone. I said, yo, is that a different camera or a different OSD chip or what? And they said it was software. They said they made it, they just fixed the problem with software. So camera notwithstanding, I don't know. It seems like the new Newbie Drone stuff is not going to have that old muddy video issue anymore. Whether it's the camera or the software or curvature of the Earth, kind of doesn't matter. You know, it's better, and that's awesome. So, Nathan Wells says, for reference, my Tattoo 300 mAh HV75C with a balance plug at XT30 solder onto it weighs 15.78 grams. Is that a 2S? Is that 2S? Brian Kirk says, thank you. I ordered one from your Etsy store. Thank you. Slystop says, do you ship to Canada? I do not. American things don't work right. And trying to ship from America elsewhere, I have around a 50% failure rate. And it's just, I can't afford that. Like, I end up losing money. Like, if I were to ship outside of the US, I would almost certainly, like, if you glomp every single time I've shipped outside the US, if you glomp that all together, I've lost money. And I just can't do it. I can't do that. I can't ship a bunch of shit out with a 50% chance that it's going to disappear into the void. You know, I don't make enough money to do that, unfortunately. So yeah, I apologize, man. You know, it's just America being America. Lewis says, clean as a whistle, took them apart. One on V4, 75mm open prop, another on 65mm ultimate setup. I've had a few crashes, pretty new to whoops, was sure if it was a result of a bent shaft. Yeah, so the motor shafts don't bend down low. They bend up on top where the propeller is sitting on them. And so they bend here. So it should just keep spinning and spinning and spinning and spinning. That is super rare. Anytime that's ever happened to me. So we're talking about motors that are tough to turn. Every single time that's ever happened to me, it's either the C-clip rubbing on the frame or the motor is dirty. And so I take it apart, I clean it all out, I put it back together, and it's good to go. It sounds like you've done all the things, and so you're just going to buy a replacement motor and throw that one in the goddamn river. That's annoying. That's super annoying. Craig says, Chewy Tootsie Rolls last a long time. What the hell's that? Craig says, do you have an affiliate link for tinywhoop? No one has affiliate links for tinywhoop. They specifically do not have an affiliate program because they don't want content creators spamming it, and they don't want people buying stuff because someone told them to, which I totally respect. You know, I do wish that there was an affiliate program, but I totally respect the decision to want to keep it pure, bro. Keep it pure. Pure evil, maybe. Hold on, I'm coming back, I promise. Maybe I'll come back. I'm going to move this 1.4-inch prop build with the lower KV motors over to the HQ tri-blades. And I have a couple batteries on the charger. We'll back-to-back these and see what's what. From what I remember, when I tested these new HQ 1.4-inch tri-blades, they were a little heavy for these itty-bitty 0702 motors. But that was the very first couple of batteries that I flew on this setup, and then I took them off and I put these bi-blades on, and I was really happy with these bi-blades. And so maybe now that I've flown these a bunch more, maybe the situation will be a little bit different. I doubt it, but you never know. So let's give it a try. We'll test like 18 things tonight. Not really. I gotta take this garbage out, man. What do I have this set up for? Props in? Yeah. Islander FPV says, high KV custom motor name Chooch by CiottiFPV. I don't like the word Chooch for whatever reason. It's just not a word that I like. There's a better chance of me naming it the Coochie motor, or the Cooch motor, than Chooch. Aether FPV spelled my name Ciotto, so it didn't turn orange. It didn't come up in orange, but I happened to see his message. He says, what KV of 802 would you use on 2S? 18,000? Yes. 18,000, 19,000, that's about perfect. And then you're going to motor limit them down to like 90%, 85%, 80%, somewhere in that world, and it's going to be awesome. It depends on the all-up weight of the rig. It depends how much power you want, but start the motor limiting at like 80%, and then if it's not enough, bump it up a little bit. But an 802, 18,000 kV on 2S at 80% motor limiting is going to make really, really, really good power. Cole Power says, I'd beware of PHR possibility, meaning pH reverse polarity RTFM carefully. pH reverse polarity. Oh my god, what a fucking nightmare. That better not be what it is, because that's the silliest thing ever. Rack says, Whoop V seems like a Micro V ripoff. I'll stick to the Micro V. I don't know. Maybe. It's half the weight, though. I would not consider something a ripoff that is literally half the weight of another product. That feels more like inspired by and improved on than a ripoff. For me, a ripoff is when you don't change anything and it looks exactly the same. It's just made in China or whatever, just to lower quality specs. You know what I mean? So I'm gonna disagree with you on that one. I don't consider that to be a ripoff, since it looks completely different and it's quite a bit lighter. Oh my god, my nose is itching like an absolute bastard. Hold on, I'm just really quickly running these 1.4s down the drill bit. I've already had these on there, but I just want to make absolutely sure that they're good to go. Once you've removed a bunch of material from the propellers, each time you put it up and down the drill bit, it doesn't really remove much more material, if that makes sense. And so, like, there's not much of a worry of removing too much material and having a propeller that flies off the motor shaft. That's why I took a bunch of time to find drill bits that were not 1 millimeter and 1.5 millimeter. They are 0.99 and 1.46, I think, is the other one. But yeah, that was important. I found a couple of drill bits that were like the right size, but then it was really easy to remove too much material and ruin a propeller. So I kept buying more and more and more until I found ones that were ever so slightly undersized so that you don't really have to worry about that. You know what I'm saying? Know what I'm saying? Nose, stop itching, you bastard. Doubles FPV says, their BetaFPV 1102 18,000s. I tried scaling the throttle limit down to 90%, but hadn't thought of the motor output limit. I'm still at 100. It's still at 100. That's the problem. Appreciate you working me through it. Yeah, man. You got to get that motor limit down. Go down to like 75% until you get this sorted out. And it might actually make enough power for you at 75%. Something I haven't mentioned in a long time is that with how easy motor output limiting is to use in the PIDs tab, use it. Like, if you've got a rig that makes a lot of power, motor limit it down a little bit and fly it around with less power. The less power you have, the better the throttle resolution. And that's super important. Like, throttle control is the most difficult part of flying FPV. And sure, Throttle Expo is like my favorite way to get a handle on it. But just literally having less power also helps it quite a bit. And it kind of helps everything. Like, it makes you fly closer to stuff. It prevents you from just hurtling into the clouds over and over and over again. And like, while it's fun to do that, nobody wants to see you do that, and you're not really improving by doing that. You're just, you're just whatever. And like, I'm all for having fun, but like, I don't know. Severely overpowered builds, to me, don't really teach you anything. They don't really like make you any better. You're just like trying not to die the whole time. And like, I don't know, I guess that makes you a little bit better, but yeah. In my opinion, stay away from ultra overpowered rigs. Just makes your life a lot more difficult. Damn, dude. This thing looks amazing with these props on. This purple and blue thing is absolutely doing it for me. This is a handsome son of a bitch. All right. So let's get this. Come on! Figured out. Here we go. All right, I gotta get caught up on chat so I can start building this build. But now this one's totally done. I can focus. I can focus. Craig says, question about Whoop V. What about wind resistance on the larger vane? Hopefully it'll sit like this. Hopefully it'll sit sideways. I'll let you know when I get it. Brian Kirk says, do you need Lance approval for the rubber band plane? Matthew W. says, those newest HQ props are 0.8 millimeter shaft. What? 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 Oh my God, you're right. Well, that's actually kind of nice because 8.8 millimeter shaft is the brushed motors. And this is going to be the best possible propeller for. So the brushed rigs are now getting a really good propeller. That's kind of cool. Kind of cool. I'm very tempted to try these, but boy, have I tried all of the quad blades, and they're just too goddamn heavy. And I don't want more grip. So I'm not going to do it. Not going to try them. Although I could do an entire live stream called, like, Are Quad Blades Better? Oh, fuck you. It's only $3. It's fine. Sometimes I have to remind myself that YouTube does not reward good content. It just rewards clickbaity content. And so those a thumbnail with those quad blade propellers is very clickbaity, and it will perform very well. What a nightmare. Nathan Wells says you should call your motors Teddies. No, it's got to be like motorsport inspired or something like that. Sly Stop says, if I pay the shipping, $100 order, too bad. Yeah, no, I'm sorry, dude. The only way that I'll ship outside the US is if the person buying the stuff specifically says that they're okay with a 50% chance that it'll disappear and me not refunding them or shipping again or doing anything. And, like, I don't even want you to agree to that. Like, I don't want you to spend $100 and then for it to disappear and for you just to be asked out. You know, like, but, like, I guess if you're totally desperate and if you're okay with 50% of, 50% chance of it disappearing, then I guess I'll do it. But I don't feel good doing that. You know what I mean? Like, I don't like that at all. Jarbeezy Pilot says, I had a rough spinning motor with bell separating and slipping down, rubbing on stator. Oh, yeah, so it could be good call. It could be a slipped motor shaft. Once the motor shaft starts slipping, usually it's pretty obvious, but it not always. And yeah, that could be the issue. Good call. Nathan Wells says, yes, the Tattoo 300 mAh are 2S75 HV and come with a balance plug and a PH 2.0 plug. I replaced the PH 2 with an XT30 and it weighs 15. Oh, okay. I want to get BT 3.0. Got it, Nathan. Got it. I thought we were talking about these PHR batteries, whatever the hell they are, on tinywhoop for a second there. I got confused. Render says, Betaflight 4.6 will have a hover point option. It will indeed, giving you Y-axis control over your midpoint, not just X. Yeah, I'm super excited about it. I don't run pre-release Betaflight stuff anymore, though. I just wait for the official release to come out. So I'm waiting for that. That'll be cool. Lewis says, thank you for the help. You're certainly welcome. Dave S. says, what would quad blade be more suited for? Weight, smaller motors, or bigger motors? Lower KV motors, or just as much grip as possible? A lot of propeller blade so that, like, when you come off throttle, it'll slow down and stop. Or if you're cornering, it'll slow down and stop and like make the corner. But the tri-blades do it. The quad blades become too heavy, so the response time sucks, so the flight performance isn't great. It's just typically not the way to go. We'll give it a shot though. But mainly you would do a quad blade on like a really low kV motor to try to get more power out of it because it's not rotating fast enough, but then you've got the extra blades. Where that becomes a little weird is that so oops. Fuck. Why is it over there? Oh, there we go. So like if you look at the designation of this propeller, it is a 1.2 inch propeller with 0.9 inches of pitch and 4 blades. If you look at some of the other HQ ultralights, like these tri-blades, these are 1.2 inches, 1.1 inches of pitch. The pitch measurement in inches is supposed to measure how far the propeller will travel with one full rotation. So looking at these two props, the tri-blade is a 1.1 inch pitch. The quad blade is a 0.9 pitch. So the tri-blade should actually be a more pitchy propeller that makes more thrust. What I've found in the world of FPV is that the pitch numbers do not correlate properly to the number of blades. And this maybe they've fixed this now. I feel like they don't have a great way of like modeling that behavior. And so what I've experienced is that even if a quad blade in this case says that it has a lower pitch, you put it on the quad and it makes more thrust. But that should not be the case. This quad blade at 0.9 pitch should actually make less thrust than these tri-blades at 1.1. But I've yet to have that experience in FPV. I've always had the experience that when I go from a 2-blade to a 3-blade, the 3 blades make more power. 3-blade to a 4-blade, the 4 blades make more power. The problem is the more blades, the more weight, the worse the response time. And so now the prop wash handling sucks. Just in general, you lose response time and it just doesn't feel as dialed in. RC Thrills says, check out DYK post for shipping to Canada. Yeah, I mean, it's... I've also tried... I've tried Pirate Ship. And I've tried Pirate Ship once, and it did make it to Walksnail for the repairs. I don't know, man. The long and short of it is, over the last 3+ years, every single time I've shipped outside of the U.S., more than 50%, around 50% of the time they disappear. At this point, 100%, I need from you in writing that if it disappears, you're totally assed out. If you're willing to do that, then I'll do whatever shipping method that you think is good, and away it goes. I'm not gonna love doing that, but if you want me to do that, I will. So yeah. Rack says, Motorsport Whoop motor name, BP4W 4-banger, the good old NB Miata 4-banger. Yeah, you know, that'd be interesting. I would probably call it the BP5A, though, because the BP5A is the Japanese version of the BP4, or no, BP4, is it BP, what the hell is it? BP, I thought it was BP5A, wasn't it? Yeah, it is BP5A. Oh, the European models too. Yeah, so the BP5A got a better cam, a better exhaust manifold, and a better intake. But I don't want to name a motor with I don't want it to be that specific. I want it to be like a little bit crossover between FPV and motorsport related, I think. It's a cool idea, though. I like that idea. Nathan Wells says, okay, call your motors MIATA apostrophe S. It's always the answer. the best idea for a name at this moment is to call them The Answer. I would yeah, call them like, literally call them like The Answer, right? Like, these motors are the answer. That would be insane. I like that idea more than any other idea I've had. I'm still not totally sold on it though. Whoopi says, "Hey, built a new drone, and after binding my Radiomaster Pocket, I get model mismatch in the ExpressLRS page. I can only arm if I turn model match off. Any tips?" Man, I am not the ELRS guy. I consider myself very happy and lucky if ELRS works at all. In terms of troubleshooting it, it's like turn it off and on again and pray. I'm gonna start screwing stuff down to this build over here, which I can do while I'm charging through these questions. So yeah, man, I'm sorry. I'm just not the guy for ELRS troubleshooting. What I'll do is there's an ELRS Discord channel, and they'll always get you an answer. So I would jump over there and ask the question, and you'll probably have an answer within 15 seconds. Maybe not quite that fast, but you'll get a proper answer from people that are in the know with ELRS stuff. I mean, Christ, the ELRS devs are on there too, so like you might get an answer straight from one of the devs. Nathan Wells says, maybe on prop pitch, they're only measuring the pitch of one prop. I think they're only measuring the pitch of one blade. I think that's what you meant to say. So 4 by 0.9 pitch versus 3. Right. Yeah, that's always been like my thought, is that they're measuring the pitch of an individual blade. But yeah, that's not how you're supposed to measure pitch. So yeah, it's super confusing. Super confusing. Rack says, do you have motors on the horizon? That would be super cool. I don't, but I seem to remember a conversation that Zotek and I had about motors, and I didn't know and I told him I would get back to him about a name, and then I talked about it on a live stream, and there were no names that were like that I absolutely loved, and then I don't remember anything after that. So I'm willing to bet that I just never got back to him like a jerk. What made me think about it is that he just did a MoFPV motor. And so, yeah, I want to have a motor too, bro. So you never know. You never do know. Can this, speaking of motors, can this motor please center so that I can screw it down? Thank you! Brian Kirk says, ChatGPT says try these names. Message retracted. Oh, I can't view the message. What did Stop using ChatGPT. I really wish that that like the search engines didn't force the AI answers, because boy, does AI eat some electricity and water to keep all that shit cool. I really don't need an AI answer to every single thing that I search for. That's pretty. I get why they're doing it, but man, that should be something that you can turn off and on. Like, especially like a lot of the shit that I search for, the AI answers are just absolutely awful, right? Like I search for real specific stuff. Jay says it's pitch per blade, 3 times 1.1, 3.3. 4 times 0.9. Yeah, it's not supposed to be like that. Do you know that for a fact? Like, have you talked to HQ or GemFan about this? Dave S says, "Isn't it insane what it takes to run AI? It's absolutely ridiculous. We shouldn't be using it for dumb stuff like this." Totally agree. Yeah, like it is incredibly resource intensive, I guess would be the right way to say it. It's just wild. Like, in some situations, it's incredible. Don't get me wrong. But if we don't need it, why are we... what are we doing here? Right? Here we go, friends. This is a Hummingbird AIO with a PH 2.0 on it. I'm going to desolder this and put on a BT 2.0. Step 1, jack up your quad. Step 2, turn on your soldering iron. Turn on your soldering iron. This is the OmniFixo. It's amazing. If you don't have one, you are just hurting yourself. Get you one. They're not very expensive, and they're well worth it. Huge thank you to Kevin Sumner for getting frustrated enough that I didn't have one, that he sent one to me. One just showed up one day. I was like, oh, fuck. Alright. So what I like to do is put 2 of the little things on it here, and then triangulate one of them, because like right now these 2 can move a little bit. Like, I gotta put some serious force on it to move it, but it still will move. If you take a third one and you clamp it onto one of these other ones, it's now triangulated and it won't move on you. I mean, it'll move a little bit, but it resists the motion of the ocean a lot more. Cool. So there we go. Now we are triangulated. Just in time for me to realize that I need to make a different angle on it. So let me put it up like this. And now I'll grab one of these jib-jabs. All right. And then my favorite thing about the OmniFixo is it's lightweight. And so you can move the work to you instead of moving yourself to the work. So I'm going to bring this and put it like sideways so that I can actually get at these solder pads. Flux paste in a syringe. Get you some. Put the flux exactly where you need it and nowhere that you don't. Oh my god. This has apparently dried up. I haven't used it in a little while. There we go. All right. A little bit of flux on that one. A little bit of flux on that one. And now we've got more than enough flux. Okay, soldering iron is up to temperature, which is 710 degrees, which spells oil if you put it upside down and backwards. I guess just upside down. And so now ground is by the grommet. Ground by the grommet, G and G. Do that one first here. And just be patient. This is the ground pad, so it's going to absorb a bunch of the heat. So just keep moving the tip around a little bit. I can see that the solder is now finally starting to melt and flow. And there we go. And now it'll be warmed up, so this pad will happen nice and fast. There we go. No solder balls. Just put a little bit more heat into these 2 pads just to get the solder all nice and happy. Anybody want a gold-plated red PH 2.0? It's actually, it really is like a legitimately better quality PH 2.0. So if you're still using them, you should be using all these red gold-plated ones. Okay, so we're going to shoot this out the bottom this time. And hold on, let me make sure it's not super long. It looks like it might be. Yeah, this is too long. I'm gonna cut this down just a little bit. So with BetaFPV, white is ground, and the ground pad is closer to the back, so I actually want the ground wire to be a little bit shorter. But I want both of these wires to be shorter, so I'm going to cut these down here to take some actual length off, and then I'm going to cut the white ground wire a little bit shorter since it's in the back of the AIO. I know that seems kind of like pedantic, but it really does make a difference allowing these battery wires to lay flat underneath the battery. So you should be doing this. You should be doing this every single time, as far as I'm concerned. That's a little bit too short. Yeah, there we go. That's a better. This is the usual offset that I do on these. You don't want it to be that much shorter, just a little bit. And so now I'm going to use my fingernails to strip the silicone. This is the easiest and safest way to do it. Your fingernails will never nick the inner strands of wire, which is why it's the safest way of doing it. There was the blue. I keep headbutting the lamp here, which is why, and the lamp now sits on the camera, so every time I do that, you guys probably have a little mini earthquake. Speaking of earthquakes, apparently there was an earthquake the other morning in Tennessee that rolled all the way down here to Georgia. Maggie felt it. I was fast asleep. And then all over social media is the first recorded footage of the Earth tearing itself apart during a giant 7-point-something magnitude earthquake in, oh God, I forget where now. But yeah, security camera footage of the Earth just tearing. Insane stuff, man. Insane. All right, so now I'm going to put this in the little OmniFixo on the end here and just tin these wires real quick. In order to tin the wires, I'm going to put the soldering iron on one side, and I'm going to feed the solder in from the other side. And that looks like this. This is going to be out of focus more than likely, but you'll get the gist of it. Soldering iron on one side. Feed the solder from the other. Feed the solder into your udders. It's utterly delicious. What we're trying to do is push the solder in between all the individual strands of wire. That's why we do it that way. Okay. And then we're just going to hook this up to the board. And so I'm going to move this again so that it's in a good position. I can hold it like this and then bring the soldering iron in like that. That should be pretty good. Let's do it. I'm going to tin the tip of the soldering iron. But first, I'm going to get this into position here. All right, there we go. So now I'm going to pick up just a little bit of solder on the tip of the soldering iron. And that's going to help transfer the heat here. Hold on, I did not have this in position. I thought I did, but apparently I did not. Shit, I'm having a hard time. Why is this being so weird? Hold on, let me separate these wires. We'll just do one at a time here. The chance I didn't, I don't think I stripped off enough of the silicone. Hold on. Let me just strip off a little tiny bit more of the silicone. There we go. That's looking better. Yep, that's looking better. All right. That should be good now. Okay, back into position. All right, so now the whole pad has flowed. Get the wire tucked in real nice there. And that looks okay. It's sitting down in there enough. Hold on. Let me just make sure. Well, I've already put a bunch of heat into this wire. I'm actually going to, hold on. I'm going to take that off and try it one more time. There might be too much solder on this pad. Hold on. Let me just grab some solder wick real quick and just remove a little bit of the solder on this positive pad here. Come on, you bastard. Heat up. It's not transferring the heat. Hold on. Let's put a little bit of flux on here. This will help a ton. All right. That is now fluxed. Let's try that again. Much better. Yeah, there we go. Okay. Now this pad looks a lot cleaner. Okay, cool. So now I'm going to reflux this. Actually going to put a little bit of flux on both. And now we're going to do this again. And so it's the blue lead for positive. Let's get this in here properly this time. There we go. There we go. Okay, this will be good now. Nice. Yeah, much better. And now I can actually see what the hell I'm doing with it. The only thing I didn't do is I like to put it facing towards the back a little bit. Just put a little bit of a backwards directionality on the wire. Again, helping it kind of sit flat when it folds down under the battery. All right, so there's the positive. Here comes the negative. There it goes. Good to go. All right. OmniFixo, as always. Thank you for holding shit in the perfect places for me. All right, and so then we just take these wires and just give them a little bit of a push backwards so that they're going in the right direction. I'll usually do that with the flat part of a set of tweezers here, just so that you're like gradually bending the wires over. You don't want any sharp bends. So gradually bend them over like that. And see, I should have cut the negative a little bit shorter. See how it's a little bit too long? That'll be all right though. So here's the frame. The little arrow goes rearwards. And let's drop this in here. Okay. And see, so now this battery lead is going to sit like that. And I could have actually cut this even shorter, but that's okay. That's pretty close to being about right. It was way longer before. It would have been obnoxiously long if I hadn't cut it down, so I'm glad that I did. It's always tough. Like, you want to cut it. The battery leads are heavy. They're the thickest wire in the rig. And so you always want to cut them down as short as you can to save weight. But, boy, if you cut them too short, it just sucks. And so, yeah, better to leave it a little bit longer than have it be a little too short. I'm having to untwist these motor wires to get enough reach out of them. They are just barely long enough, which is kind of nice, because that means they're as light as possible. There we go. Okay. Yeah, just long enough. Wow. They just have a little, they do have some slack to them. Just enough. Yep, it's plugged in all the way. And they've got just a little bit of slack. Alright. Got this one here. Let's just, same deal on this guy. Okay. Helps to put a little like 90-degree angle bend on the wires, because then the plug will kind of like more naturally want to sit in there or whatever. Come on. Oh damn, this one's actually not long enough. What the hell? You for real? Oh man. Well, that sucks. Fart. Hold on. Let me see if I have another motor option. Damn it. Who would have ever thought that? Hold on. I just gotta look real quick in this little box here, and newbie drone 802s. What KV are these? This is a flow motor. Let's see what KV this guy is. 27,000. That's kind of fun. I'm probably going to do those. Let me see what else I have, though. Should be 2 more sets of... these are going to be 20,000s. So I'm going to use these 27,000s. That's cool. What are these guys? 802... What are you? 19,000, yeah, that's too low. And then 18,000, that's too low as well. These will be 2S motors. I'll do 2S one of these days. Cool, so we're going to use those 27s. That works. Even more power. All right. And let's... Yeah, balls. Now I'm going to have to unscrew these motors. Well, that'll give me a chance to get caught up on chat. And I'm going to have to unscrew these to get them out there, to get them going. What's happening, Chad? Chad, the chat bot. Dave S. says they'll get people addicted to AI and then start charging for it. Yep, that's the plan. Rack says, got a OmniFixo S4, thinking about getting the S2. What you think about it? I didn't even realize there were... What's the difference? I didn't realize there were 2 different OmniFixos. Kazuma says, Ciotti's knots. What the hell does that mean? Dave S. says, I would have gotten frustrated and moved on to something else if I ran into that wire issue. Nardo Polo says, for battery wires, why not keep the wires on the flight controller, cut off the PH 2.0, and solder on the light up 180 BT 2.0? Are those much heavier than the BetaFPV plugs? No, they're actually lighter than the BetaFPV plugs. But to be totally honest, these are rigs that I'm selling. And so, yeah, you guys don't get the fancy light up plugs. I have a couple extra of the light up plugs, but I don't have that many extras. And I have a whole bunch of these BetaFPV 180 degree jib jabs. So yeah, I'm using these up since I'm using these BetaFPV 180s up. I also really like these BetaFPV 180s. They are this like rubberized texture, and it just makes it really easy to unplug the batteries. The light up ones give you a good grip too, but like it's kind of annoying to build those light up ones. Like it takes me like 15-20 minutes to sit there and get the pins lined up properly, and then flux it, and then like it's a thing. It's not like, you know, they don't come pre-set up and then you just throw them in there and go. Like you got to do some actual work. And, you know, these builds that I sell, like, I sell them for, like, kind of what the parts are worth. So I'm not, like, you know, Yeah. I should buy more of those though. That's actually a really good idea. But then I would have to charge more, and like I don't know if people would actually be willing to pay more. It's tough, you know. Like these are not like hyper performance builds that are, you know, they're not like the ultimate freestyle tiny whoop. They're not something that has a lot of like you know, hopefully, you know. Jay says, I've direct soldered motors to this board. You will know frustration if you try that. Yeah, no, ain't going there. Direct soldering can go straight to hell. Those pads don't look that small though, and they're spaced pretty good. Doesn't look that bad. I've direct soldered to boards that basically give you a trace to solder onto, which is just the silliest thing ever. So yeah, compared to that, I don't think this would be that bad. I could totally be wrong though. There could be something weird about these pads that makes them a pain in the ass to deal with. But they don't look too bad from just taking a quick gander. This is the I think this is the Hummingbird V3, if I'm not mistaken. Jay says the X12 is the worst. Yeah, the X12 is not even supposed to have motors direct soldered to it. Like they put no provisions in. They put no pads on there. It's real bad. I think you have to remove the plug in order to do it. This is the old school cockroach frame. Heavy as hell, but like crazy stiff. Crazy stiff, but too heavy. I'm actually going to throw this away. That's how heavy it is. Yeah, no. We don't. There is no reason to run that AI to run that frame at this point. The Cockroach 75 for a tiny lifter, sure. But the old Cockroach 65 frame, no reason to run that, man. I mean, if you want, like, you could maybe make the argument that if you wanted like peak durability, but like if you want peak durability, the old Meteor 65 is the way to go, and it's way lighter. I mean, I have broken a couple of those old school Meteor 65 frames, but I mean, that was after like mega thrashing. I don't even think that this Cockroach 65 frame would survive all that. So yeah, those old Cockroach 65 frames are, I don't really see any value in them anymore. The technology has just moved on. And like, in fairness, that was like one of the first brushless tiny whoop frames. So like, of course it's gonna, you know, get. Oh my God, Andrew T found some local Oreos, Pascal marshmallow Oreos, and Cadbury caramel Oreos. Jump onto my Discord if you want to see pictures. That they both look awful. I would totally try them though. And they're both double stuff. Ew. Ew. Yeah. Quantum Falcon over on Discord. The Hummingbird V4 is a great choice. I'm blown away by mine. Out of the box is a little heavy. You're gonna want to change the canopy, in my opinion. But man, I did a whole live stream about it. With a couple of quick changes, that thing is incredible. Effing credible. All right, we're almost back in business here with even higher KV motors. Heavy days are here again. Oh man, I just made the difference in KV between these two rigs even more drastic. Oh well. Holy shit, it's midnight already. Oh my god. Okay. Nose has been itching all night. It's because of all that nose candy that I did last weekend. Can you imagine doing cocaine? Can you even imagine that world where you're like, sure, I'll snort this shit up my nose that like is well known to make people die or just be completely insane or get hideously addicted and throw their entire life away. Like I'm not even interested in doing it just once. I just it like there are just things in life that are like, yes, that is a known bad decision. You should definitely not do that even once. And I think that that's one of them. It's tough though. Like the whole, oh, I'll just try it once thing. Like, I don't know. Seems kind of okay, maybe. But you know, because like I get it, you know. You literally only live this one time. But I don't know. It's not worth it. Like what's the best thing that happens? It's awesome and then you wanted to do and you want to do it again? No. No. Don't do that to yourself. Like so like, you know, what's the end result, right? It's awesome and then you want to do it again. And either you do and then you throw your whole life away or you don't and you're always left like sure wish I could do more cocaine or just we'll just say hard drugs or and like you know got it like it's gonna trigger addiction it's all these things or you have a terrible experience and you're like which is almost better but then you have a terrible experience. I'll just not have any experience and life will go on. You know? Like the like try anything once thing. Like I understand it from like a yeah, that seems like a good idea. But then I don't know, man. Like once you actually think through that, it's kind of like, wow, maybe not. Maybe I'm just an old fuddy-duddy. I don't know. Maybe I'm just an old man river. There we go. We're back in business. We've got some motors on here again. Let's get them plugged in. Oh, look, I just did that. Crazy. ELRS antenna. And then I had this canopy floating around, which has the antenna in it and the camera in it ready to go. So I'm going to skip a couple of steps here and just plug this guy in. UFL, and then plug this camera on in via the wacky JST 0.8 camera plug. There we go. And then we'll just, oh shit, I used the canopy screws on another build. Hold on, I gotta grab another set of canopy screws out here. I should have a set or 15 floating around. Maybe. What? Where the hell are all the canopy screws? Here they are. So about to say, I should have like 10,000 of them. Alright, so we're going to use another set of the regular old newbie drone ones, which are great. I like them a lot. The way you can tell they're the regular newbie drone ones is that they look like these ones that I'm using. They look like this. See them? There they are. They look like that. Those are the newbie drone ones. They're good. They're a little bit longer than the BetaFPV silver ones. And they're black. Which is obviously way better than silver. Here we go. Oops. Throwing this guy on here. This is probably going to be a lot heavier than the other build. Hold on, I'm going to feed this ELRS antenna out the top here. There's a bunch of little holes in the Goober canopy. And I'm just going to poke the ELRS antenna out one of the holes like that to get it going straight up. Straight up now tell me. I actually don't know the rest of the lyrics to that Paula Abdul song, even though I grew up on it. I had a Paula Abdul album on cassette when I was growing up, and at some point I thought I lost it, and I was very upset. Paula Abdul dancing around with that animated cat. Holy shit. Was there anything better than that? She was sexy too, that Paula Abdul. She had it going on. Can I get a hell yeah? Who else was attracted as a young lad to Paula Abdul? I think I was. Maybe it was just the cat that I was all about. But I mean, she was cute. She was cute. I think. Right? Probably. It's all that mattered when you were that age. Cool. Trying to get these camera cables to kind of cooperate. There we go. That's looking better. Okay. Get some screws in here, and away we'll go. There's a chance I'll get all antsy and move this thing over to a Bri-Brain canopy. We'll see what the weight is. If it's too heavy on this, I might Bri-Brain it. But for right now, let's leave it in the Goober canopy and we'll see what's up. Ah, fart, come on. There we go. I just put my finger right on the lens of the camera. That's awesome. Screw keeps coming off this goddamn screwdriver. This screwdriver used to be much more magnetic. I'm tempted to remagnetize it, but sometimes I don't want them to be magnetic. This will be interesting to see what this weighs compared to the I mean, basically the other one it's almost exactly an Air 75, which is a very lightweight 1.6 inch prop build. Fuck you, get out of there. Come on, man. Get in there. Not get out of there, get in there. You better not be too good for your home. You better answer me. All right, it's fine. Got it. There we go. It should be props in. Well, I did change the motors, though, so there's really kind of no telling. These are the Newbie Drone Flow 802 27,000 kV motors. This might make some serious power. I'm cautiously optimistic about this. I just pushed that propeller on there pretty hard. I wish that I hadn't. Hold on. Oh, nope, this one's fine. This one's going to be just fine. Yep. And then how about you? You'll be just fine as well. All right. There it is. Let's get a couple of weights real quick. I'm super curious. So, something very similar to the Air 75 first. Oh, that's not it. That's not it. Here it is. 21.1 versus 24.4. 21.1 versus 24.4. That's a hell of a difference in weight. I am probably going to move this to the Bri Brain, but not right now because it's after midnight already. And, yeah. We're going to fly these real quick. First, though, I need to get these motors spinning the right direction because they're probably not spinning in the right direction, that is. Oh, missed. So let's get a 450 mAh battery going here, plug into Betaflight, and knock that out real quick. Betaflight configurator. Doubles FPV says I'm snagging 6 of the 300 milliamp tinywhoop 2S packs. Feel a little bit bad about taking that many, but I guys got me going through the packs. Nah, it's good, man. It's all good. You're allowed to get 6. McMika says the production of cocaine poisons land and rivers people rely on to live and literally kills children in Peru. Jesus Christ, never support that. Dave S says, straight up now tell me, do you really want to love me forever? That's it. That's it. That's what it is. It's a good question, you know? You better straight up tell her. She'll knock you the fuck out. She looks like she can fight, that Paula Abdul. Does she? Does she look like she can fight? Maybe. The fuck should I know? Oh man, this has the crazy LEDs on it. I forgot about that. Oh, newbie drone. I'm so glad you did it. I got no motor beeps. That's not great. Hummingbird F4 V3. There it is. Motors. Oh boy, we got a situation here. Did I put this battery lead on backwards? Round is ground. Ground is white. And ground was back by the clip glops. Hold on. Let's unplug. And we'll just plug in a battery, see what happens. Now we're good. We got beeps. Why was it 100% error like that? That was weird. Plug into USB. Plug in battery power. Okay. Why is it 100% error? Why is it D-Shot 150? What the hell is that about? D-Shot 300. Okay. Save and reboot. Okay. This was a working rig, I think. There we go. That was weird. It was D-Shot 150. That's strange. All right, so who's making thrust? Who's making vacuum? Motor 1 is correct. Motor 2 is correct. Motor 3 is correct. Oh my god, they're all right. Look at me go. 12 poles, idle percent 6. Why is it using motor percent? Hold on, let's check this. We're gonna nose down, nose up, roll left, roll right, yaw left, yaw right. Good to go. Ports shouldn't need to touch. Configuration. All right. Pid loop frequency 1.6. No. What in the world? What kind of weird ass setup is on this thing? Connect. Configuration. There we go. 3.2. That means it's a BMI 270. Camera angle 0. Air mode permanently on. No. Oh, yeah. I don't want to screw around with that. LED strip on. OSD on. Great. Save and reboot. XIMIC recently tried tinywhoop racing and people told them that it's better to use acro instead of air as crashing in air mode messes with crash recovery. Do you have any input on this? I'm not a racing guy, but in the olden days, everybody used to use angle mode. Nowadays, I believe most people have moved to acro mode. Within acro mode, you can turn air mode off or on. For racing, you're almost never at 0 throttle, and that's when air mode starts working, is at 0 throttle. So for racing, it kind of doesn't matter. But if you ever do go 0 throttle when you're racing, without air mode turned on, the quad can move all around and do weird shit. So I would leave it on. You know, it's not going to do much, if anything, anyway, because you're always on the throttle in racing. So it really kind of doesn't matter to some extent. But yeah, I would leave it. I would turn it on. Wow, there's some weird shit going on here. So D gains, I'm just going to pull down a little bit just to make sure that it's safe off the bat. Feed forward, I'm going to... actually, feed forward, I'm going to turn on because 75mm rigs have a hard time with life. Drift, wobble, eye gains, I'm going to turn that up to 1.1. Pitch tracking, damping tracking, both 1.1. Master multiplier 1.0. This is similar to my first whack at slider tuning. A little bit more aggressive because it is a 75mm rig and they always have a harder time there. I-term relax cutoff of 10 for freestyle, 15 is more for racing. Dynamic damping, I like to set these two both to 30. Thrust linearization is 40%. That is awful high. I'm going to turn that down to 10%. Looks like they're not using dynamic idle. That's okay. It's 1S. Apparently you don't want to use it. Motor output limit 100%. Let me limit these. Nah, fuck it. We won't limit them. Leave it at 100%. Save it. Well, apparently this was not a working rig because my rates are not on it. So I don't know where this AIO came from, but it's got some wacky ass rates on it. But I am fixing that right now. 0.7. 0.7. Great. Throttle mid, I don't know what it is. Maybe I'll turn that on in the menu, maybe not. Filter settings, I'm going to leave these alone because it's a BMI 270. And I'm kind of running short on time here. Jesus, it's already 12:20. So I'm just going to leave this filtering alone. It's probably okay. Before I sell this, though, I will put Brandon's magical BMI 270 tune on here. But for right now, I'm just going to leave this alone. I'm kind of curious as to what it'll be like. Binding phrase is CiottiFPV. That's good to go. Change this to tear. Stick low of 1,000. Stick high of 2,000 for a little bit of extra throttle resolution. A little bit of deadband. And all set. Move this auto factor up to, I think 50 is where I usually put it. Modes! Arm is on aux 1, that's great. Angle, we're going to turn off. Horizon is on aux 2 all the way up, in case I lose video or something weird. Beeper, we're going to put on aux 3 all the way down. Flip over after crash, aux 3 in the middle. And then launch control for fun on aux 2. Switch position all the way up. And I think that's all I need, right? All right, that's fine. Murders, we already did this. OSD, I'm going to drop in a CLI dump for that. Video transmitter, we're going to go to race 8. And I'm going to turn on until first arm, low power disarm, 25 million watts is totally fine. And then in the CLI, I'm going to grab my analog OSD setup here. All right, copy that. Paste it in, hit return. I'm also going to grab crash recovery. I have a little block of CLI text for that as well. Drop that in, enter, save. Good to go. This is now fully set up and somewhat tuned. LEDs are flashing away. I am going to kind of refine this tune a little bit. But for right now, let's just get it up in the air. All right. BT 2.0 being a pain in the ass. Get out of the way, you jerk. Come on. Maybe I didn't make this. I made it just short enough, I think. I would not have wanted this to be any shorter, because when the battery goes in there, it's hard to get it to kind of connect. See if we have video. We have video. So this is the old school, newbie drone setup where you get like this kind of muddy-ish video. Hey! Look at it go! It flies! Let's fly it around. See how it is. Oh boy, look at all that ducked in view. Holy shit. Woo! Boy, I haven't flown a 75mm rig around here in a while. Oh, it's hard. It is a heavy boy. I mean, 75s in general are heavy little boys and girls. Got it, though! Let's go upstairs real quick. See if we can get Teddy's attention. So this is an Air 65 frame. Ooh, it's dark up here. Sorry, Air 75 frame. Newbie drone, 802, 27,000s. It's got a little bit of power, okay. Not bad. Oh! Came very close to the fan on that one. Oh my god, guys. My JBL Studio 570s are in. They're in. I drove 5 hours each way to get these fucking things from Gainesville, Florida yesterday. Wow, I was totally blind coming down those stairs. These speakers used to sell for $1,000 per speaker. I got this set in perfect condition from somebody that's moving out west on Thursday for $150 for the pair. He knew they were worth a lot more than that. He needed them gone. He needed them gone right away. And I needed to go get them. I can't believe I drove. You know, I'll tell you what. I was actually really, not necessarily like proud of myself, but I was happy to be able to drive 10 hours in one sitting. Like the last bunch of times that I've done road trips, I've been like really uncomfortable after only like 3 or 4 or 5 hours. And so I just kind of thought like, oh, I'm getting old or whatever. I did 10 hours back to back because I got there, I bought them from him, and that was it. Like, and I grabbed a bite to eat, and I just headed right back home. And I did it in my 2 with no cruise control and a fairly aggressive suspension setup. Really well dialed in Bilstein coilovers, which are like not bad, but also not good from a ride comfort standpoint. Wow. The difference in response time between these 1.6-inch prop rigs and the 1.2 and 1.4-inch rigs is kind of unbelievable. I didn't ever think I was going to get out of that cube, so I just went full throttle, and then once it let me go, I went skyrocketing into hell. Good runtime. Look at that. 3 minutes, 20 seconds. Really good runtime. Holy hell. I ran the battery down really low, though. Poor battery's at 3.2 volts. That did not give me battery warnings early enough. I got to change that. I got to change that battery warning to come on sooner, because that's a little abusive. I'm actually going to put this right on the charger to pull that voltage back up. That's too low. And if I don't do this right now, I'm not going to remember to do it. So hold on. I hate to do something so boring. But let's just real quick come in here. Power and battery. 2.9 is going to go to 3.1. 3.2 is going to go to 3.4. There we go. Save it. That'll be a little bit better. Tune seemed pretty fine. Let's do another battery real quick, and we'll dial the tune in a little bit better. Oh my god, look at all this hair in these fucking things already. What oh, it's from the stairs. It's from when I crashed it on the stairs, that's for sure. Them stairs is heavy. Great. Them stairs is hairy. Got them hairy stairs installed when we first moved in here. I'm gonna cover my whole house in this shit. It's gonna look like a werewolf. I'll be super impressed if anybody knows what that quote's from. Alright, so let's check this tune out. Little wiggles. Little bit of prop wash wiggle. Let's see if we can get it out. Profile, simplified tuning. D-gain slider, we're going to go up from 1.6 to 1.8. P&I gain slider from 1.3 to 1.5. Oh shit, I hit the ceiling. Prop wash is gone. Prop wash is gone. And that's it. I've gotten really good at guessing. At guessing where those sliders are going to be able to be. And so I was pretty close on that first try. And then we just dialed it in ever so slightly. And at this point, I could probably keep tuning it. But why? It's now handling the prop wash. I would rather leave the tune backed off a little bit and have a little bit more headroom than to just push the tune farther and farther and farther and farther for with no real benefit. Yeah, prop wash is gone. I brought a little bit of it out just now. Ooh, I did twice in a row. Hold on. We'll go all the way up to 2.0 and then 1.7. Motors still spin down nice and clean. I can still actually bring it out just a little bit. I mean, that's just 1.6 inch prop life. The response time is just not there. You can push the PIDs as far as you want. It just doesn't have quite as good response time. This thing made a weird noise on that crash. Let me just make sure nothing went to hell. That's fine. I really wanted to make sure the ELRS antenna didn't go like into the motors or something, but it can't. The way that it's mounted, it can't. So that's good. This thing flies really decent. I'll be damned. I mean, it's definitely heavier than what I'm used to. But I'm used to rigs with smaller frames and smaller props. Like, this flies just like all the other 1.6 inch prop builds that I've done. It's kind of lazy. It lacks a lot of the precision. But for flying outside, this will go charging up and down the street way better with the bigger props. You know, this is not a rig for in here. The fact that I can do any of this in here is actually super impressive. I don't know if I went through the gate or if I missed it. The polks are for sale. Anybody want a set of floor standing polks? Actually, really decent. Oh, come on, you jerk. Let me go. Oh my god. I hear someone upstairs. Why is it not giving me a low battery warning? Oh, fuck you. Oh, you goddamn son of a bitch. Why is it not giving me a low battery warning? That's weird. I don't love that. I don't know why the warnings aren't working. Hey, what do you do? Teddy, come on, can you get out of the way, little boy. Get out of the way. Well, shit, there you go. This battery's done. I'm not going to run it any lower. Damn, doesn't fly bad at all. Pretty sort of what I expected, if I'm honest. All right, now we're going to do this lighter weight rig. 3 grams lighter. Here we go. 3 grams lighter. 3 little pigs. And now we're going to go from Newbie Drone BI through the Newbie Drone AIO to the CO3 camera through a regular AIO. Oh my god, way less power. Holy hell. Okay. Way, way, way less power. Stop! Oh my god. Jesus Christ on a crutch. Okay, so the extra power made it way easier to fly. Wow, I can't do anything. I'm coming in low everywhere because of how little power this has. I shouldn't say how little, I should say how less. Oh my god, I can't do anything. Wow, man. Wow, this is insane. I'm blown away at how difficult this thing is to fly just from the lack of power. Like the hover point is like really high. And then when I go full throttle, like not a whole lot happens. Yeah, look at the hover point. It's up at 40%. That's absolutely ridiculous. Hold on. I gotta... If I have throttle... No, the midpoint is perfect at 40. And I only have a little bit of expo added, and I could probably take the expo out. I don't need any expo because there's so little power that there's like natural expo. I was thinking I would get used to it, but I'm kind of not. Oh my god, I can't get it to like do anything. And it's so these are so heavy that like they don't like to change direction. Wow, this is insane. Whoa, this is super uncomfortable to fly for me. Oh god, it's so heavy, Jesus. Wow, what a mess. Yikes, man. I am staggered at how much better that other rig was to fly. Just from the extra power. The extra power is helping with everything. It's helping with the power to weight ratio. It's helping mainly though with the response time. Whoo! I'm starting to adjust to it a little bit here. I thought that I would have enough power to go up through those. I didn't even come close. I was like 3 feet away from the cube. Fuck was that? Yeah, we're adjusting to it. Ah! What is happening? There's nothing for it to be stuck on. It's sitting right next to the goddamn thing. What? There's nothing there. It's a flat shelf. What is this? What is happening? I don't understand. Oh, the up tilt. Yeah, good call. Oh wow, it was very wedged under there. The up tilt isn't that different. The camera sits up higher on the Air 65 canopy, but you're right. There is a difference in up tilt. Wow. Wow. Shnikes. Oh my god, it is so heavy! Like, I'm doing everything just to try to get it to not hit those walls. There's a low battery warning. Cool. 4 minutes of runtime, though. Holy hell. Yeah, not a lot of power will do that. Okay, there we go. Jeez, what a massive difference between these two builds. Jesus. That's insane. Damn. 23,000 is not enough kV for one of these things, for me at least. Great runtime though. Jesus, 4+ minutes. That's crazy. Well, there you go, friends. Two seemingly similar rigs that perform very different. I'm still kind of shocked at how much more difficult it was to fly this one from the lack of power in comparison. That is wild. Well, there you go. We built it, we tuned it, we flew it, and now I'm going to sell it on my Etsy store. I got a couple things to finish up on it, and I might move it over to a BriBrain, but man, it flew fine without it. It flew fine at the weight that it was at, so there's a chance it'll stay on this canopy. This canopy is certainly cooler looking than the BriBrain, but I might swap it out. I might swap it out to a BriBrain canopy, and problem with that becomes, what do I do with these antennas? The BriBrain canopy doesn't have any provisions for antennas, whereas this Goober canopy does, which is nice. I know that seems like a weird thing, but like the canopy, the antennas not going down and getting mangled by the propellers is really nice. So yeah, I'm not sure what I'll do there. We'll see. Anybody love 3D design? Anybody willing to take a BriBrain canopy and just on the top left and right corners just put two little like hooker fuckers for antennas? They just need to be like this, and then you put the antenna in there, and then you put a little dot of E6000, and it just holds it shut. Just silly little jib jabs. We should actually we should post on the... Oh, hold on. I put these tri-blades on here, and we wanted to fly it. That's right. By we, I mean I. I'm going to save this for... No, we'll do this real quick. We'll do this real quick. Stop with the warnings. Just work. All right, here we go. Something good. Not something good. That's not fair. Something that's meant for flying indoors. How about that? So this is now on the HQ tries. Ooh, they do not feel great so far. Hold on. Ah! I knew that was off a little bit. Boy, this feels so much more capable, though. Oh, yeah. Wow! Okay, this is what... This is what you're supposed to fly inside the house. There it is. That's what we're flying. Hey! Laying that out, yo. Just letting it chill. Hello, Spaghetti Monster. Railgun? Nope. Nope. Oh. Alright, let's railgun it up. Oh boy. That wasn't a very good one. Ah! I haven't done them in a while. They're hard to do. Stop it. Oh, you fart bag bitch. Stop! Just... Can you? Oh my god. Oh, fuck. Come on now. I don't think I can do them anymore. It's my own fucking move and I can't do it. Hold on. That was a half decent one, but I fucked it all up! Oh my god. Okay. Flying too many different rigs, that's my excuse. Oh, Teddy! Oh! Teddy likes the purple props. Ooh, they prop washed like a motherfucker there. I could hear it. I don't know about these. What are you doing, dog? Oh, you're scratching yourself. He was all I could see was when he was like shaking. I'm like, what the hell? I didn't see his leg scratching his little midsection there. I don't know. I think I might be not having a great night of flying. So we'll test these again in the future. It's also very late. I love you. No, wait, hold on. Apache Spoke Wounded Sniper has woken up. That's how late it is. That's ridiculous. What's up, dude? Benny Bravo says, railgun request a mirror roll. I did everything but the mirror roll. No, I don't think I got a clean railgun either. Cole Power says, are BetaFPV lava batteries comparable to WeBleed packs? In my opinion, yes. They are a little bit heavier, but they're all pretty similar. Witchcat says, I was thinking of building a 2-inch freestyle rig. What size motors would you recommend, and what should the KV range be around? Thinking Happy Model EX1204. It depends on the all-up weight of the build. It depends on what propellers you're looking at running, bi-blade versus 3-blade versus 4-blade. And it depends on how much power you're kind of looking for. 1204 might be a little big. You could probably get away with like an 1103. But yeah. That's not a question that I can just answer like that. Like there's too many variables there. So yeah, we need to know like what frame, you know, what kind of runtime you're looking for, what voltage are you going to build it with, right? There's a lot of questions that go into a decision like that. Cold Power says you went from super low uphill to much higher. You can have PV with the last commented live stream. He says my 65 Pro build is waiting for motor, then I'll be ready to jam hopefully tomorrow. Very cool. Thanks for hanging, friends. My name is Aaron Ciotti. Everybody calls me Ciotti. Go to CiottiFPV.com and support me, or I'll die, and then you'll have that on your conscience. Hey, sorry, no stream on Friday. I'm going to see Pierce the Veil with Florence. Her very first concert. Should be a blast. So I will not see you guys on Friday. I'll be back on Sunday at 3 o'clock. I'll see you then. Love you, bye! Here's more of that fat rig dragging around the Insta360 Go 2 in the front yard. See you later, friends! Come on now.